Good afternoon, children.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hope you are remembering what we were discussing in the previous class. Are you remembering?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the topic that we discussed, Lynette?
Ma'am, adolescence.
And the changes taking place at puberty. The different changes taking place at puberty. And we discussed about 4 major changes taking place. Who can tell me the changes that we discussed? Isha?
Increase in height.
A little louder.
Ma'am,
Yes.
increase in height.
Increase in height.
Change in body shape.
Change in body shape.
Voice change.
Voice change.
That much.
One more. Increased activity of Lakshmi. What point she missed out?
Ma'am, increase in the activity of sweat and sebaceous glands.
Very good. So these were the 4 changes that we discussed in our previous class. Now let's see what are the other changes taking place at the time of puberty. Okay. So the 5th change is development of sex organs. So you already have learned that during adolescent age, your body undergoes changes leading to reproductive maturity. So one important change that is taking place is the development of sex organs. The sex organs will develop so that they will be capable of producing the gametes. Male sex organs will form male gametes or sperms. Female sex organs or ovaries will produce eggs or ova. So it is during this period that the sex organs undergo development. In boys, testis begins to produce sperm. Sperms will be produced inside the testis. Testis develops and sperm formation takes place. Then testis and the penis both will develop completely. By the end of puberty, the sex organs will be developed completely, both testis and penis, and it is inside the testis that sperms or male gametes are being produced. And if you take the case of girls, in girls, it is inside the ovary that eggs are being formed. So ovaries also become large. It will get enlarged, gets fully developed, and the eggs will be formed. Egg starts maturing inside the ovaries. And they start releasing egg. By the time girls reach puberty, ovulation starts. Ovulation starts means the ovaries will start releasing egg. Under normal conditions, normal cases, one egg will be released every month, per month, or once in 28 days. One egg will be released by one of the ovaries. There can be exceptional or exemptional cases, but generally only one egg will be released by one of the ovaries in 28 days. Clear? So I'll repeat the points once again. We discussed about the 5th change, that is development of sex organs. Here the testis will develop and form sperms. Both testis and penis develop completely. In girls, ovaries enlarge, and inside the ovaries, eggs will mature, and ovaries will start releasing one matured egg per month. Any doubt? Any doubt? Okay. So I'll proceed to the next slide. The last change that we are going to discuss, or which is mentioned in your textbook, is reaching mental, intellectual, and emotional maturity. All the major changes are mentioned in your textbook, and the last one, what we are going to discuss, is about mental, intellectual, and emotional maturity. You attain maturity in all aspects. Physically also you are attaining maturity, means your body organs are getting developed. Apart from that, mentally, emotionally and intellectually you attain maturity. Can you tell me what do you mean by intellectual or emotional or mental maturity? With one example, can you say? Anybody, let it be wrong. If somebody is saying that you have got emotional maturity, what do you mean by that? Nandana, any idea? What is emotional maturity? If you don't have emotional maturity, how will you behave? And when you have emotional maturity, what will be the difference in the behavior? Can anybody say?
Ma'am, we won't cry that much.
We won't cry that much. Why we are not crying that much? What is the reason? Because, is there any reason why we are not crying? You understand things better, or you are conscious about what others will think about us. Am I right? Am I
Yes.
right? Yes. See, for example, when you are very small, now also you are small, but when you are very small, uh, if you go to a shop and you like the toy very much, and if your parents are not buying it for you, you might ask your parents or you might demand them to buy that toy for you. And they disagree. They are saying that we will buy it later. Now enough money is not there, or by some excuse if they are giving. What will happen? A small child, a very small child, normal cases, what will happen? If the parents are not buying the toy which he asked for, you will start
Crying.
crying. And sometimes you will roll on the floor of the
Floor.
market. Yes, till you reach home, you will be crying. Maybe you will start throwing things also. Okay, and you will shout at your parents. All these can happen. All these might have happened also. Yes, then after reaching home also, maybe you won't eat food, still you will be crying till your parents assure that next time we will buy the toy for you. Maybe you will just for some time you will keep quiet, but again you will be thinking about the same thing and you will behave in a similar way. But now the same thing happens. Now you are taken to a shop and you liked something and you asked your parents and they said that now we can't buy it for you. Then how will you behave? Definitely you won't be happy. Just like when you were a child, you won't be happy. But will you cry loudly? Maybe tears might roll down. That might happen. Those who cannot control the emotions, tears will be, what to say, it will roll down your cheeks. But you won't cry loudly. Yes? And you will
Yes.
not roll on the floor, because why you are not doing that? Why you are not crying loudly and not rolling on the ground? What is the reason?
Mature.
Tell me. Means why you are not doing? Why can't you do? What is the reason? You are aware of the surroundings. You are worried what others will think about me. But since still you will be angry. Yes, you want the thing, but parents are not buying it for you. You will be upset. Just like when you were a small child, you will be upset. But you will control your emotions. You will hold on your tears sometimes. Tears sometimes, in depending upon the person, sometimes tears will come out, but you won't make others feel that you are upset. Somehow you will control till you reach your home. And after reaching home, maybe you will cry, shout loudly. Do you agree with what I said?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes or no? Has this happened? Yes?
Yes.
I want response from you. Yes? That is what I said. Attaining emotional and mental maturity. When you get matured mentally, you will learn to control your emotions. You know when to cry, when not to cry, when to shout, when not to shout. So by the time you reach your puberty stage, you attain mental, intellectual, and emotional maturity. Not only that, like till you reach this particular age, you won't have any independent opinion. But by the time you reach your puberty stage, slowly you start to think independently and frame opinions about different issues. So gradually you attain intellectual maturity. And not only that, it's during this age that the thinking capacity of your brain is at its maximum. That is why when compared to all people, you have better capacity to learn and memorize. Adolescent period has a profound effect on person's way of thinking. Your way of thinking will change by the time you reach your puberty stage. Teenagers become more independent, and when you become more independent, so if somebody is advising you, whether your parents or teachers, you don't like advices. Something which you hate the most during this age is advice. Whether your parents are advising or teachers are advising, at least in at mind you will be thinking, I'm grown up, I know to think, I know to do it. Then why I should be compelled always? Why I should be scolded always? So you don't like others scolding or advising you. The reason is because you think you have grown up. You start to think independently. So much changes are taking place during this period of time. Then you become self-conscious till you had reached, or till you reach your puberty stage. You were not that conscious about yourself. You were not conscious about your looks. Even if your parents are asking you to comb your hair, wear a good dress, you're least bothered to do that. Parents will have to compel, or they might ask, put at least some talcum powder. That also you are hesitant. You don't want to use any of the, especially girls, they don't want to use any cosmetics. They are not worried about themselves. They are not at all conscious. But by the time you reach your puberty stage, you become more conscious about yourself, and you spend so much time in front of the mirror, whether girls or boys. If you disagree with any of these points, you can tell me. Am I right, children? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
You are worried about your looks. You are worried about what others will think. I should be presentable. I'm an independent human being. I'm a grown up. My dress should be neat. My haircut should be trendy. So you become self-conscious, and you even get attracted to the opposite gender or opposite sex. That is quite natural because it's a part of your growth. And there is nothing to be worried, but you should know where are the limits. And spend more time on thinking. You prefer to think, or your thinking capacity of brain is more, and you keep on thinking. Your thinking capacity develops. The brain has the greatest capacity for learning during this period. It is during this period that the brain is having maximum capacity. Utilize it, make use of it. You do your best now so that you will have a bright future. Realize that your brain is at its best now, because by the time you reach my age or older than that, our memorizing capacity diminishes, our learning capacity reduces. So make use of the opportunity, make use of the time. So this is the best time you can utilize your brain. The learning capacity is at its maximum. The rapid changes in the body and mind may create a sense of insecurity in some of the, here they have written most of the teenagers. I don't think in the present situation or in the new gen, there is this insecurity feeling among the teenagers. Maybe some of them might be having, but majority of them, they are not at all worried, or they don't have any such insecurity feeling because of the changes taking place in their body. Maybe because of the different mass communication media or different social media, they know to accept themselves. They understand all these changes. That is what I understand. But long back, like during my childhood and all, this was true. That means when we develop some changes physically as well as mentally, as I told, your body undergoes changes, mind undergoes changes, thinking capacity develops. So you feel a sort of insecurity. A child, especially girls who were mingling freely with others, immediately once they reach their puberty stage, they like to hide, or they like to escape from others. They don't want to go in front of or in front of a group of people, or they like to avoid crowded situations, or they have some self inhibition once their body is changing. But I have not seen, because I have been interacting with teenagers since years, but I don't think majority of the teenagers have any such problem. But olden time it was not like that. They majority of them had that insecurity feeling because of the changes taking place in their body. And if somebody feels so, like if somebody is having such feeling of insecurity, not to worry. All these changes taking place in your body, those are part of growth. You need to accept it as it is. Every human being has undergone all these changes. So there is nothing new. Your body has to change. Your mind or mental capacity or thinking capacity has to change. Accept as it is. Okay. So all these are part, or it's a, everyone who is growing has to go through these stages. So adolescent stage, as I told, it's a very crucial stage. It's a transition period between childhood and adulthood. Okay. Any points to be repeated? Would you like to see the previous slide? No. Okay. But teenagers should not worry about all these changes in the body and mind, because these are natural changes. Nothing to worry about all these changes. So with that, we have completed the different changes taking place at puberty. We learned 6 changes taking place at puberty. So one by one, you can summarize the 6 changes. Who is going to start? Sridev, tell me the first change.
Increase in height.
Increase in height. Your height increases rapidly during the stage. Point number 2. Tom?
Change in body shape.
Change in body shape. Abid, Lakshmi, Lakshmi already informed me. Albert, Ritvik, Nadeem, Irene, Adelio, Anjana, I want to see you. Okay. So Irene, tell me the third change. Irene Maria, unmute child. So already we learned about 6 changes, Irene. 2 your friends have told. First one, increase in height, then change in body shape. Irene, you know the next change? Where are you, Irene? Irene, turn the video on. Who is going to respond? Isha? Yes.
Ma'am, voice change.
Change in voice. Okay, good. Alvin, you can tell me the next point. So 3 points, I'll just summarize. Increase in height, change in body shape, change in voice. 4th one, Alvin. Need not be in order. Oh, yes.
Change in activity.
Increase the activity of which gland? Which all glands? Alvin, listen here. Which gland? Starting with yes. Both the glands are starting with yes. Who can help him? Who will help him? Alvin, you wait. Yes.
Ma'am, increased activity of sweat and sebaceous glands.
Very good. Alvin, you heard? Which are the glands? You want me to repeat? No. You want Lynette to repeat? Okay. Then tell me, Alvin.
Ma'am, change activity of sweat and
Sebaceous. Sebum. Sebum is oil. Sebaceous. Sebum, secreting gland. Sebaceous. Sebaceous. Repeat again. Repeat again.
sebaceous.
Not clear.
Sebaceous.
Sebaceous glands. Increased activity of sweat and sebaceous glands. Then, Pooja, next point.
Development of sex organs.
Development of sex organs. And Surya, next.
Ma'am, reaching mental and intellectual and emotional maturity.
Mental, intellectual, and emotional maturity is also attained during this stage. Shall we proceed to the next topic? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, we going to learn about secondary sexual characters. Secondary sexual characters. So let's see what are or what is meant by secondary sexual characters. So at the time of puberty, we already discussed that a body is undergoing, body as well as mind are undergoing so many changes. And some of the changes that is formed or that is developed during the stages, some secondary sexual characters. Now, what do you mean by secondary sexual characters? These are characters which will help in distinguishing a male from a female. You can identify a human male or a human female, or you can distinguish if a male and female, uh, if a male and female are standing at a particular place, you can make out this is male, the other one is female. So those characters which help you to identify or distinguish a male from a female are known as secondary sexual characters. Now let's see what are the secondary sexual characters. And some of the characters which you find in boys are facial hair, beard, mustache, all that will be developed, or facial hair will be developed. Then their voice tone changes. If they speak, we can make out from a person's voice, we can make out whether a male or a female. It's a male or female. It's from the tone of their voice. As we discussed earlier, ladies or women or girls, they have high pitched voice, and boys have deep voice. So deep voice, facial hair, and hair on the chest. So these are some of the characters, secondary sexual characters found in boys. Similarly, in girls also, you can find secondary sexual characters. Secondary sexual characters in girls include breast enlargement. Their breasts start to develop, and their voice tone, as I told you, they'll be having a high pitched voice. When compared to boys, they'll be having a high pitched voice. So from that, we can make out easily, this is a girl, a person or a girl or a boy is singing. We can easily make out whether it is a male or a female voice. It is because of the difference in their voice. So girls are having high pitched voice, and their breast also enlarged or they get developed during this period. And some of the changes are common for both boys and girls. So some changes are specific for girls and boys we discuss. Apart from that, some common changes are there. That is growth of hair in the private parts and also in the armpits. So in the armpits as well as in the pubic region. Pubic region means the private parts. So those regions also will develop hair. And these are some of the changes developed once you reach or once you're undergoing the puberty stage. Hope you have got it. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay, or else I'll repeat once again. Secondary sexual characters means those characters which will help in distinguishing a male from a female are known as secondary sexual characters. Boys, some of the characters include facial hair, deep voice, and growth of hair on the chest. And if it is a girl, enlargement of breast, high pitched voice, etc. And common characters, as I told you, growth of hair under the armpits and also hair in the pubic region. Pubic region means pubis is the your private part or the region between the thighs is known as pubis. Any doubts? Any doubts? You tell me what are secondary sexual characters. Who will tell me the definition for that? Muhammad Salim. Salim,
Yes,
no? Okay, Muhammad Salim. I would like to see your face, child, rather than the ceiling fan. You are attending class on mobile, dear?
Yes, ma'am.
So next time you do one thing, fix your mobile somewhere. Otherwise, it is very tiring for you also. With the help of some books or something, fix your mobile, okay? So that you can listen without any disturbance. Can you tell me what are secondary sexual characters? Salim, simple,
Yes, ma'am.
no? Tell me. What are these secondary sexual characters? How do you define it?
Boys also develop hair on their
No,
chest.
no, not that. I'm not giving you asking you the examples. What are secondary sexual characters? I will make one of them to say, one of your classmates to say, and then you will repeat. Fadil, agreed, Salim?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, listen carefully to Fadil. Fadil, tell me, what are secondary sexual characters?
Features that help to distinguish the male and female are called secondary sexual
Characters. Salim heard? Salim? I will repeat. I'll repeat. You listen. The characters which help in distinguishing a male from a female are known as secondary sexual characters. Can you repeat?
The characters which help in distinguishing
Ah,
from a male to female.
Or else simply you say the characters which help in distinguishing males and females. If you find it difficult, tell me once again. Repeat once again.
The characters which help in distinguishing from a male to female.
Distinguishing males from females, or distinguishing males and females. If you want it to be simpler, males from females or males and females. Secondary sexual characters are the characters which help in distinguishing males and females. Okay? Shall we proceed, children, to the next?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And why some of your videos are off?
These help to distinguish the difference between male and female.
When you say distinguish, no need to say difference. Helps in distinguishing characters that help in distinguishing males from females or even females from males are called secondary sexual characters. So let us continue. Isha, happy? What happened? Some distraction there. Your sister is there?
No, ma'am.
Somebody is sitting next to you. Who is that?
No, ma'am. No.
Don't tell me lies. Somebody is there. Okay, now we are moving on to a new topic, hormonal control. Have you heard about hormones? Have you heard about hormones?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. What have you heard about hormones?
Ma'am, these hormones are injected in chicken.
Yes, hormones are injected in chicken. Okay. Who told you that? Who is
Ma'am,
speaking?
once I saw a newspaper.
So what will happen if you take that hormone injected chicken?
Within 25 days, it will become large. Then
No. Hen will become large, but if you eat that meat, what will happen to us? We will also have some
fat.
hormonal imbalances in our body. It can cause so much of complications. Okay. So only that you have learned. Who responded?
Ma'am, Lakshmi.
Okay, Lakshmi. Anyone else? Can anybody name some hormones? Yes, Adigesh. Which hormone you have heard about? Oh, here I have written. No, it's not there. Yes. Adigesh, you're saying something?
No, ma'am. No, I was.
Tom, name some hormones. Any hormone. Nobody?
Ma'am, female hormones.
Name? I think you haven't learned. Have you heard about insulin?
Yes.
Have you heard about insulin?
Yes,
No.
ma'am.
Have you heard about growth hormone? No. Okay, let's learn. No problem. Hormones are some chemical substances. What are hormones? These are chemical substances. We call it as chemical messengers also. And hormones are produced by some special glands in your body. You call these glands as endocrine glands. What do you call them? What do you call them? Endocrine Glands. Okay, children, let's continue. Hormones are chemical substances secreted by the endocrine glands. So you should know what are endocrine glands. Endocrine glands are glands scattered throughout your body, and we even call them as ductless glands. What do you call them? Ductless glands. And why they are known as ductless glands? Because the glands are not having any duct. Duct is a passage to carry the secretions to the desired or the destination or the target organ. Okay, when a gland is producing something, it should be carried to a target tissue or its destination. So that passage takes place through ducts. But endocrine glands, they do not have any such ducts. And it is these endocrine glands that produce the hormones. And how do hormones reach their destination? Through the blood. Endocrine glands, they do not have any ducts, and they will release the secretions or hormones directly into the blood, and blood will take it to the respective organs. Clear? Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Hormones are chemical messengers. These are secreted by the endocrine glands. And endocrine glands we call as ductless glands. They don't have any duct to carry their secretion to the destination or to the target organ. Instead, they will release the hormones directly into the bloodstream, and the blood will, blood is continuously flowing throughout your body. So blood will take it to the target organ. Target site or target organ means where these hormones are acting, where they bring about their effect. Those are known as target sites.
Ma'am.
Oh yes.
Ma'am, what is ductless?
Duct means a passage. Suppose you have, what is saliva? Yes, saliva is the juice which is produced in your mouth, which is useful in digestion. So to carry saliva to your mouth, there is a passage or tube. You call it as salivary duct. So saliva will be produced by salivary glands, which will pass through this salivary duct and reach your mouth. Okay. So there is a duct to carry. There is a duct. Suppose, for example, this is just a rough thing just to make you understand. So imagine that this is a gland. Okay. The gland will have a tube. Okay. To take it to the target site, to its destination where it has to act upon. So this will produce the secretion and it will pass through this tube and reach the target sites. But in case of endocrine gland, they don't have any duct. Instead, they will release it into the blood. Okay? They will be directly released into the blood. They don't have any duct or tube to carry their secretion. Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Ductless means no ducts. Why ducts are necessary? To carry this. They are some channels or some tubes through where the secretion can be taken to the target sites. But in case of endocrine gland, no duct. Then how it will reach the destination? Through the blood. Endocrine glands will release the secretions into blood. Blood will take it to the target site. Clear? Clear? Am I clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The target site, once it receives the hormones, they will respond accordingly, and these hormones will regulate various metabolic activities in your body. Metabolic activities means, what do you mean by metabolic activities? All the activities taking place in your body. Inside your body, there can be building up reactions, breaking down reactions. So metabolic activities means all the activities taking place in your body. All activities taking place in your body is known as, all activities together, we call them as metabolic activities. Hormones regulate these different metabolic activities. Hormones are chemical substances. These are secreted by endocrine glands. We call endocrine glands as ductless glands because they don't have any duct. Instead, the hormones will be released to the bloodstream, and the blood will take it to the target site, and the target site will respond to these hormones. And hormones regulate different metabolic activities of your body. Clear? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The last topic what we said learned was about hormones. What are hormones? What are chemical?
Hormones are the chemical
Substances.
substance secreted by the endocrine glands.
And why do you call endocrine glands as ductless glands, Ritvik? Why we call endocrine glands as ductless glands?
Ma'am,
Ritvik,
because there is no
there are no ductless. So there are no
ducts.
ducts. And then how it will carry these hormones to the target sites?
Through a blood vessel.
Okay, very good. Through the bloodstream. So we'll wind up the session. Thank you, children.